Yes, please. Thank you. One more time. 2018. So don't have it together. Hey everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse. Today's video is going to be a rundown of a bunch of books that are coming out in April that I am super excited about. So probably mostly thriller heavy because it's me, but there's so many books that are coming out and there's so many books that have already come out this year that I'm behind on. Literally have not read anything that's new, but I'm really excited about a bunch of them. So I thought we could talk about it here and let's just get into it. I will pop the dates as I talk about the books about when they're coming out. So I'm probably not going to talk about them in order, but they're all coming out in the month of April. And the first one I have is Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. And I actually have the e-arc of this and I haven't read it because I had been in that awful reading slump and I didn't want to ruin my experience of the book because I was in a horrible place. But I am so excited for this one. And if you guys have followed my channel, you know that her last book, Jar of Hearts, I should get things out ahead of time, but that would require me to actually be on my game, which you guys know I'm not. But Jar of Hearts came out 2018 and I read it in 2019. Yes, so this came out in 2018 and I discovered Jennifer Hillier at a Thriller Fest conference. She was on a panel. She was talking about this book. Other people, AKA Riley Sager, who I had not heard of at the time, was raving about this book and I picked it up, didn't read it for no good reason, read it in 2019 and fell in love with it. So dark, twisted, suspense, messed up people doing messed up things, which you guys know that I love. And I have the same expectations for Jar of Hearts. So what I know about this book is it's a couple and their son winds up getting kidnapped. And I want to say like a year goes by, haven't found the son, no leads in the case, and the wife winds up hiring a private eye. And instead of finding her son, she uncovers a whole bunch of dark, terrible things I think about her husband. So, ugh. Bad upon bad, but it sounds like this wife is going to go down a dark and twisted path and I am here for it. So I have about 100 pages left in the book I'm reading right now, and then I think I might switch straight to Little Secrets or I might do a middle grade March and then switch to Little Secrets, but when I read it I will let you guys know about it. So excited. The next book on my list is Have You Seen Me by Kate White. And I feel like Kate White is an author that I haven't really talked about much here, but I have read all except I want to say her last release. And she used to be the editor-in-chief of Cosmo, and she started writing this mystery series with a character named Bailey Wiggins, and then she started to get into more kind of psychological suspense standalones. So I would say the Bailey Wiggins series, which I totally enjoy, is probably, it's funny, sometimes people ask me for like some recommendations on thrillers that aren't as like gory or dark. I would say these are kind of like, I don't want to say like mystery light because it's not like Hallmark Channel light necessarily, but it's not Gillian Flynn, Peter Swanson, Jennifer Hillier kind of thriller. And I really just enjoy her writing. It's sort of, it's not always like super complex, but they often take place in New York City because that's where Kate White was the editor-in-chief of. Sometimes it's in upstate New York where she lived. Sometimes they shoot down to Miami for something. So it's like familiar territory. I love things that are set in Manhattan. And I just kind of like, there's like usually like a little bit of, it's maybe like women's fiction mystery type of a thing. But anyway, this book, Have You Seen Me, has one of my most favorite tropes in it. And it is this woman named Allie. I'm reading all of these because I don't know what they're about off the top of my head. Ellie Linden. So she shows up at work one day, like rain-soaked, crap morning, gets there, can't find like her pass card to get in. She's looking for an assistant, trying to figure out what's going on. She's kind of having a day. And her boss comes up to her and is kind of like, what are you doing here? You haven't worked here in 5 years. And Ellie could have sworn she was there yesterday. So she's got some sort of crazy old case of amnesia and has no idea what's going on. And I imagine this is very much her trying to figure out what the heck has happened. And I love it. I love these like temporary amnesia things. Was something tragic happened? Like sort of what set all of this in motion? So basically she starts like retracing all of her steps, trying to figure out what's happening. Somebody out there doesn't want her to remember. And then I'm pretty sure it becomes like the race for survival. And yeah, I am down with that kind of a thing too. But this comes out, I think, end of month. Again, we'll pop it down below. Excited. The next book on my list is called He Started It by Samantha Downing. And she wrote My Lovely Wife, which was another one of my favorite books from 2019. And I cannot wait to see what she does next. I loved that book. I feel like that was like hit or miss for some people, but again, it was like dark people. It was dark premise. I enjoyed it. I ripped through it. Big fan, very much enjoyed her writing. And this new book, I'm just gonna read it because it's probably gonna do a better job than I can of explaining it. So this is Beth, Portia, and Eddie Morgan haven't all been together in years, and for very good reasons. We'll get to those later. But when their wealthy grandfather dies and leaves a cryptic final message in his wake, the siblings and their respective partners must come together for a cross-country road trip to fulfill his final wish and, more importantly, secure their inheritance. But time with your family can be tough. It is for everyone. It's even harder when you're all keeping secrets and trying to forget a memory, a missing person, an act of revenge, the man in the black truck who won't stop following your car, and especially when at least one of you is a killer and there's a body in the trunk, just to name a few reasons. But money is a powerful motivator. It is for everyone. So give me some family drama, twisted secrets, body in the trunk. Here for it. Cross-country trip, all of it, all of it, all of it. She's a great writer. I just think it's gonna be great. Highly optimistic. The next book I have is by Darcy Bell, and it's called Something She's Not Telling Us. So Darcy Bell wrote A Simple Favor, which is a divisive book, and I find like a lot of people didn't like it. I did watch the movie first, didn't read it first. I watched the movie first, which I totally loved, and then I just did the audiobook of it, I wanna say in February, and I liked it. Full disclosure, don't know if I would have liked it as much if I didn't already know kind of what was coming, having seen the movie, but I did enjoy her writing. I very much enjoyed the character of Emily that she did. Her character of Stephanie was kind of annoying, but she was kind of supposed to be annoying, but I did like some of the twists and turns in it. I just felt like it was slow to get started, but once it did, I very much enjoyed it. But liked her writing enough, curious enough about this, and I wanna say it was Alexa Dunn, who I take a lot of my recommendations from, who said this was kind of like a good, I think kind of like soapy, frothy kind of a book. She had access to the ARC, so she talked about it on her channel. But this is, again, it's two women, and it says, an electrifying domestic thriller of how one woman's life is turned upside down when her brother brings his new girlfriend to visit and no one is telling the truth about who they really are. She's on the verge of having it all, but one woman stands in her way. So Charlotte's brother Rocco brings home his new girlfriend Ruth. There's definitely a rub between the two ladies, and then Ruth seems to take like a weird, I guess, obsession with Charlotte's daughter Daisy, and then Daisy goes missing. So it sounds like there's like a whole mess of stuff going on here. And it's basically like, as the two women follow each other down a chilling rabbit hole, unearthing winding paths of deceit, lies, and trauma, a family and a future will be completely and irrevocably shattered. Yes. Is anyone ever who they really say they are? So this just sounds fun to me. This is not probably day one it's released kind of buying, but this definitely sounds like it's gonna be a fun time. Like I said, I enjoyed her writing, I'm curious about it, so it has made my list. The last book I have for April, I totally came across randomly, but it got me with boarding school trope and the tagline that says Twin Peaks meets Riverdale. So I read on. And it's by Samuel Miller. I know nothing about him, but it is about a missing girl at an elite prep school. Guess whose battery's gonna die? Welcome back to filming. And we're back. So, Redemption Prep. This is about a girl named Emma who winds up going missing, and they're at this remote prep school in Utah, and it says she disappears in plain sight, which is kind of crazy, but whatever. We'll see what happens. And all of her best friends and her boyfriend are highly motivated to find her, of course, and it sounds like they all have secrets and they all have a reason to find her. And as they are searching for her, prep school seems to have a whole mess of secrets too, and those start to come out, and there's people who want to protect those, so there's all sorts of secret protecting happening. Sounds very high school, up my alley, prep school, mystery, just all of it. So I've never heard of this book before. It has like 3 stars on Goodreads, but this is one of those books that I will give a go to, and we'll just see what happens. But I didn't know anything about it. I just totally came across it randomly when I was looking at books in April that are coming out because I didn't want to miss any. The last one I wanted to talk about, which doesn't seem to now be coming out in April, is Alifair Burke was supposed to have a new book coming out, which when I did my original list at the beginning of the year, it was called The Girl She Was, and I can't find anything on it now. It was supposed to be coming out in April, but then I did a little bit more research, and now it looks like she might have a book called Piece of My Heart coming out in November. So super unclear. There's nothing on her website, but I'm actually reading her 2019 release, The Better Sister, right now, and I'm loving it. I have less than 100 pages left, so let's hope it wraps up amazingly. And I'm just a huge fan of hers. I've talked about her before. I did a spotlight video on her, and I believe the newest book that's coming out is actually going to be a new book in her Ellie Hatcher series. So she has 2 series. She has a whole bunch of standalones. Super fuzzy on what's happening here, but I did just want to mention it in case anyone else is an Alifair Burke fan or curious about it. But if you haven't read her, definitely dive into her standalones if you don't want to get all series-ish, but she's just great. She's crime, thriller, mystery, psychological. Her series are more police procedural, that part, and then the standalones are more like domestic suspense, I would say, but you can't go wrong with any of them because I just think they're all terrific. The last book I wanted to mention is actually one that came out in March, but I missed it at the time and it wasn't on my list, and it's called In 5 Years by Rebecca Serle, or Searle, I'm not sure, so sorry. And this is one of those books that like lots of people have been talking about, and I kind of saw it. It's not a thriller, so maybe that's why it didn't totally register on my radar when I was doing my research at the beginning of the year. But the more I hear about it and the more it seems to be popping up, the more I'm like, duh, this is 100% something you would like to read, because we have different timelines in like a I've glimpsed my future type of a thing, and we've got someone trying to figure their stuff out. So this is about a lawyer named Danny. She's at an interview and they ask her like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And she's got this perfectly like crafted answer, and she totally has her vision like laid out. And then I believe she like goes to sleep that night, wakes up, it's 5 years in the future, and she's like engaged to like the guy who was not her fiance when she fell asleep. There's some other dude in the bed with her. Her life is not what she thought it was going to be. And then I want to say like she's got like this crazy day or whatever that happens, and then she goes to bed and wakes up back in 2020 and kind of like shakes it off as a weird dream, goes about her business, and then 4.5 years later she meets the man who was the man from her 5 years ahead dream. So she needs to kind of figure out what's going on. So I'm intrigued. I'm super intrigued. I love an amnesia story where, like the first book I talked about, the Kate White book, we show up at work and they're like, hey, you haven't worked here for 5 years, what the heck are you doing here? And she needs to piece her life together. And then we've got this book where she's got this crazy dream 5 years in the future, but like, that was weird, shaking it off. And then things start to happen. So I don't know. Let me know if you guys have read this book, because again, this is one that has been out, or if you've like read the other ones, but I keep hearing people talk about this. I keep hearing people that I really love talk about this book, and I'm not gonna lie, I've got a little FOMO happening now because I feel like I'm missing the boat on this book. So that's gonna do it for the quick roundup of some books that I'm excited about for April. By no means an all-exhaustive list, but I'm trying to control my book buying. So I'm trying to narrow it down to some specific books that I'm excited about, mostly authors I have read before and their new releases that are coming out. But let me know if you guys are excited for these books, if there's like another new release coming out that you're excited about. Let me know if you've read in 5 years, because I'm just basically looking for more justifications to buy some books. And still haven't pulled a trigger on anything, but I'll keep you guys posted. I am gonna buy something. I'll let you guys know how I'm doing on my backlist kind of catch up also. I do feel like I finally hit a reading groove, which feels really good. So all good things are happening right now. But let me know how you guys are doing. Thanks for hanging out a bit today and spending some of your time with me. I really appreciate it. And like I said in my last video, I am back to being committed. I am back to kind of having a little bit of a clearer head for the time being, and gonna make some videos and get them out there, and let's all stay connected and just keep on chit-chatting. So I hope everyone's doing well. I hope your friends, your family, everyone is doing well. We're in the midst of this crazy time, and I just think the connections, however we can get them, are more important than ever. So again, I appreciate you guys being here. Look forward to chatting down below, and I will see you guys really soon. Bye, everybody.